And it looks like business is starting to pick up at Tottenham Hotspur, with the purported David Ornstein, very reliable journalist, reporting that Brendan Johnson could be leaving Tottenham Hotspur, with Crystal Palace agreeing a fee with the Spurs for the Welsh winger to leave. And it's now up to Brendan Johnson whether he wants to leave to Crystal Palace. Let's get straight into it. Mr. Box Office from Mr. Box Office TV, ladies and gentlemen, Tottenham Hotspur's era in the January transfer window looks like it's starting to take light. And the promises of the ownership saying that things are about to change, a new dawn is dawning at Tottenham Hotspur, looks like it's starting. And Thomas Frank is getting his wish, it looks like, in terms of Brendan Johnson leaving for Crystal Palace. 35 million, it's reported, Crystal Palace are looking to buy him for. And the below average Raheem Sterling, I call him, who's the guy that scored the winner for us to win our first trophy since 2008, a European trophy for years now, is leaving Tottenham Hotspur. And it leaves a bit of a gaping hole in terms of goals, with the fact that this guy scored around 18 goals, I think it was, last season altogether, and then 11 assists, I think it was 7 assists, I think it was 27 altogether in terms of goal GA. Leaves a bit of a gaping hole in terms of goals, especially now we've lost Son, we lost obviously Kulusevski and Maddison, who are obviously injured. Hopefully Kulusevski comes back soon. So then you're looking at, what are we going to do to bring somebody else in? On Brendan Johnson, though, there will be a lot of Tottenham fans that are very upset. I, for one, would be not too upset. I'm not emotionally attached to this guy, Johnson. I don't think he's been great. But at the same time, when you see the goals that he was scoring last season with the Ange Postecoglou system, you can see that if you actually use him right, he's very effective. So why did Thomas Frank not fancy him? I think the main thing I would say at the moment is it's quite clear why he didn't fancy him. He's not a winger. But this is why I did that video many months ago saying, well, that's your number 9. That could be your number 9. That could be your Jamie Vardy. That could be your Darren Huckabee. But he refused. He absolutely refused to use the fact that this guy can score goals if he's in the right position. And with that, it looks like now he's the first casualty of leaving Tottenham Hotspur. So, yeah, great. We've got the 35 million for Brendan Johnson. It's a shame that he's now going on to pastures new, and we didn't really explore the fact that he could be that number 9, like he could be that second striker with Richarlison. You know my feelings on Richarlison, or Mawani, or could do with Javi Simmons or Johnson partnership as well. He could have explored that, but he just didn't refuse to do it, like he did at Nottingham Forest, which is why we bought him for. And this is mainly the reason why he could be moving to pastures new as well to Crystal Palace, because Wales are still in the running to try and get into the World Cup because they're in the playoffs. But in some way, now it leaves a gaping hole, like I said. And I think now Tottenham Hotspur are going to have to look for somebody experienced, someone in that left wing position that everybody's been talking about. And for me, it's quite simple for me. I think Tottenham Hotspur should be looking at this player, Ademola Lookman. And to me, the reason why I look at Ademola Lookman as somebody that I think we should be looking at the moment, firstly, he's experienced. Secondly, he's got goals and assists. He's a Nigerian international at the AFCON at the moment, doing well at the moment. I think he scored as well with Osman as well. They're doing really well in Nigeria in the AFCON at the moment. So for me, if you're losing the goals from Brendan Johnson, you've got to bring in somebody who's going to score goals, especially when you've got Kudos, who's more a dribbler. And then you've got Alderbear, who's more a dribbler as well, even though he don't really get past anybody. And I think he's just an impact player. You need somebody that can play the full match and who's going to challenge Alderweireld, someone that he can look up to and tell, saying this is the standard. He's also won the Europa League, and he was a main player that was effective in that Europa League as well, winning that final for Atalanta. He's got that strong mentality. He's had problems with other managers. He's got a bit of arrogance about him, which I don't think is a problem. If you've got the quality and you've got the footballing ability, I think there's no problem with that as well. And it needs a shaking up as well in that squad as well, especially with Romero as well. And I think for me, he's perfect for us at the moment. He can play up front as well, play on the right if he wants to play on the right, play on the left. So just looking at the profiles that are available at the moment, I think also he's got Premier League experience as well, which gives me another aspect to this as well. And we need players that can hit the ground running. And that, for me, is what we need at the moment. Especially now, we got Brennan Johnson now that probably might leave for Crystal Palace. I think that shows you that where we need to go at the moment. As for Brennan Johnson, I think Thomas Frank maybe missed a trick. And I think Crystal Palace will be a perfect foil for him to go be used right in the right positions that he needs to be so he can score the goals that he was scoring last season. And then I think he'll get better, especially less pressure, less spotlight on him at Crystal Palace. And it even gives another opportunity to even try and win another trophy with the Conference League, European Conference League that they're still in. They're going into the playoffs. And they need goals. They need some players that can score goals, because you can see that they needed goals against us when we won, very luckily, in my opinion, at Selhurst Park. But it's interesting to see what happens next. There's definitely will be a left winger that is reported to be we're looking at the moment. There's other profiles that we're looking at that are out there as well. But it's going to be interesting. And we started early, and it looks like Parategy, when they were at Selhurst Park, was doing a lot of negotiating. Whether we were looking at Crystal Palace players, maybe an Adam Wharton would be wishful thinking. And it would have been a Christmas present for us in January, definitely, even though Christmas is finished. But are we starting early, starting a new year, finishing the old year as we're going to start the new year in a good and a new way, and showing that we mean business this season? That's all. Thank you for listening. And hopefully this is the start of some good things coming up at Tottenham Hotspur and get this fan base excited. And as always, please like and subscribe as I head to 2,000 subscribers. If you didn't know, get to know, support your boy, Mr. Box Office. Subscribe and like. And come on, you Spurs. And I'm out.